I knew something was wrong the moment I saw her face that morning. Too calm, too rehearsed, like someone practicing innocence in the mirror. She kept moving her fingers, twisting nothing between them. The rings were gone. Her wedding ring, her engagement ring, both. They must have fallen somewhere, she whispered. Somewhere. The word clung to my spine like ice. I didn't respond. I just watched her eyes flicker. A trained liar always looks away a second too late. She reached for her bag, said she was running late, and rushed out the door. Her perfume lingered behind, sweet, guilty, suffocating. I should have followed her, but I didn't. I waited until the sound of her engine faded, then walked outside, opened her car door, and froze. It was sitting there, a used rubber, caught between the seat and the floor mat like a piece of trash she didn't bother to hide. My chest didn't explode. My breath didn't stutter. Nothing dramatic happened. I simply shut down. A cold, clean silence filled me, the kind that makes decisions easy. I took a photo, sent a message to a private investigator I knew from work, just 5 words: collect everything, don't get seen. Then I stood in her empty car, staring at the rubber, and felt something inside me harden into stone. I wasn't angry, not yet. Anger is loud. This was quiet, and quiet is far more dangerous. For 3 nights I watched her, not obviously, not desperately. I simply observed, like a stranger studying a stranger. Her late returns, her forced smiles, her sudden interest in long drives alone, her phone glued to her hand. She acted like a woman walking on thin ice, terrified I'd hear it cracking. I said nothing. Suspicion spreads fastest in silence. Every night I lay beside her, pretending to sleep, listening to her breathing, too shallow, too alert. She was waiting for me to ask, waiting for me to break, waiting for the confrontation she rehearsed in her head. But I never gave it to her. I just watched her drown in her own anticipation. When the PI sent me a message, "Got them, you need to see this," I didn't feel dread, I felt relief. I met him in an empty cafe parking lot just after midnight. He handed me an envelope without speaking, but the look in his eyes told me enough. Inside were photos that made my scalp prickle. Her, in her car, in a motel, in the arms of a man I recognized, someone who always smiled a little too long whenever he saw her. Every lie suddenly fit like puzzle pieces finally snapping together. My wife wasn't clumsy. She didn't lose her rings, she took them off. And she didn't forget that rubber. She just didn't care if I found it. I stared at the last photo, her in the motel window, laughing, free, unburdened. That was the moment the anger finally arrived. But it didn't burn, it froze. The next morning, she asked if everything was all right. Her voice shook. She kept rubbing her empty ring finger as if the metal was still there. I didn't answer. I just handed her a folder, the lawyer's contact already clipped to the front. She blinked at it, then at me. "What's this?" The perfect question. I slid one photo out and placed it on the table between us. The color drained from her face so fast I almost mistook it for a trick of the light. She opened her mouth, some desperate attempt to assemble a lie, but I gently pushed the entire envelope toward her. "No need," I said. My voice didn't even sound like mine. "I already know everything." She trembled, not out of guilt, out of fear. There is nothing more terrifying to a liar than a quiet man holding the truth. She tried to speak, tried to touch me, but I stepped back. "You made your choices," I said softly. "Now you get to live with them." Her knees buckled. I watched her sink into the chair like her bones had given up. For once, I felt nothing, and that scared her more than fury ever could. I hired a shark of a lawyer the same day, not out of revenge, out of principle. Deception deserves consequences, not closure. The proceedings were surgical. Every lie she told snapped back on her like a trap she set for herself. She begged, she cried, she apologized with lines she didn't even believe. I didn't look at her, not once. My silence demolished her far more effectively than anger. Walking out of that courtroom felt like stepping out of a burning building I'd lived in without realizing it was on fire. She called after me, voice breaking. "Please, can we talk?" I didn't turn. The version of me who once loved her no longer existed. The truth had killed him cleanly. I walked to my car, opened the door, and sat there a moment, breathing in the cold air as if it were new. Maybe it was. People think betrayal shatters you, but sometimes it sets you free. I started the engine, drove away, and didn't look back.